is our speaker, and Susan Partnow will be here as a facilitator for our process of listening. Anastasia, who wants to be called Anna, was born in Ukraine in Lviv, which I may not pronounce right, and left in 2019. She's now studying biology at the University of Massachusetts in Boston, and she'll tell you more about her journey. We met Anna very briefly at Spring Assembly when she asked for a 1 minute response to Helena Koban, our keynote speaker, to give us a perspective from a Ukrainian person to Helena Koban's ideas. And she offered to meet with us more, to share more of her perspective. And as we thought about it, we decided that would be a good idea. I was surprised at the variety of message people heard from her 1 minute speech. And I actually went back and heard that again on the recording. And I know that's not uncommon that we hear what we're primed to hear for whatever reason, but this is a difficult topic. So when we plan to invite Anna to come back and talk to us, we decided we really wanted to be listening to her, not just hearing what fit in with our thoughts. So that's why we invited Susan to be our listening facilitator. Susan Partnow is a senior certified compassionate listening practitioner with the Compassionate Listening Project for nearly 30 years, and I think many of you know her. And she'll be leading us in the listening session with a structured format. Because of the structured format, we are asking people to keep their microphones muted until it's a time that they're invited to speak. And if you have any questions, to put them in the chat, and we'll monitor the chat and get back to you if, when we can, hopefully as soon as possible. I don't know if all of you know that you can ask questions of an individual in the chat. You don't have to ask questions of everybody. And it's a good idea not to fill up the chat at this point, because people need to be paying attention to the program rather than reading the chat. So that's about it for me. And I'm going to turn things over to Susan now.
Thanks so much, Jean. I'm really looking forward to being with all of you today. And I'm delighted to welcome a dear friend and colleague, Eileen Stark. Maybe you can wave your hand, my beautiful friend, who's been an educator for over 45 years and currently is also a facilitator of compassionate listening, as well as a mediator with a special interest in restorative justice and equity. And so she'll help hold our space today and do some modeling, because many of us as peacemakers and activists have so much passion that we're really good at talking, and we may not have developed our skills and capacity for listening. And listening is really a challenging skill. As Jean was mentioning, it was interesting to see how everyone so supposedly heard the same message, but in fact heard a totally different one. So today, consider this a skill building exercise to develop your capacity as a listener to listen more deeply, not just from our heads, but from our hearts. So I'll be offering some guidance and keep us on a pretty strict process to give us that experience. And part of being a good listener is listening to yourself. So even now, noticing, are you thinking all of a sudden to yourself, who does she think she is? Or why are we doing it this way? Or I really want to, whatever's going on inside of you is very important to notice and pay attention to. And as I was looking forward to today, I thought, well, what is the relationship between nonviolence? Because I've been a member also of WWFoR for years, and I know it's committed to reconciliation and nonviolence. And how does that relate to listening? And I was looking at the website, the principles and mission: create peace through the transformative power of nonviolence. Reconcile bitterness and contention in dealing with controversy, and maintain the spirit of self-giving love while engaged in the effort to achieve those purposes. So listening is a deep act of love, and listening to understand and not just so we can give our argument back is a whole other skill. So I invite you today to join in this practice. I'll explain what we're going to do in a few minutes. We'll start out with some centering so we can prepare ourselves as listeners, and then we will offer some time to Anna as a gift, where we will just hear her perspective and her story. We believe that offering listening, especially to someone who's in a state of trauma or difficulty or challenge, it's a real gift. It's a healing gift. So we'll offer that, and it will at the same time be a practice field for all of us. It's not a discussion or debate of the issues. If you want to continue and pursue that, I think Jean is happy to help organize or help you organize other sessions for that. And as part of our process, we will offer reflections to Anna, and Eileen and I will model that. And then you'll each get a chance to do some listening and speaking to each other in a little breakout session. And then we'll come back and offer reflections as a whole and have our closing circle. So that's kind of our process for today. And after we do our centering, we'll set some agreements that will help us create the kind of courageous space for Anna to show up and speak, and for us to show up as really open listeners. So I hope that is okay for folks. And I'm not very good at monitoring the chat while I'm facilitating, so let me know if there's something I need to have attention to. And I see Eileen and Jonathan and Jean will help do that. So thank you very much. We always find that preparing ourselves as a listener takes getting centered or grounded or present in this moment, because we're often, thinking and planning and distracted. So I'm going to lead us. I love reading poetry, so I'm going to read a favorite poem by Dorothy Hunt, and then we'll have a little silence, and I'll maybe talk you through centering more fully, and then we'll get ready to make our agreements together. So get yourself really comfortable in your chair at this moment. And some of us like to close our eyes, some of us don't. This is a lovely poem by Dorothy Hunt called "Peace is This Moment Without Judgment." Do you think peace requires an end to war, or tigers eating only vegetables? Does peace require an absence from your boss, your spouse, yourself? Do you think peace will come some other place than here? Some other time than now? In some other heart than yours? Peace is this moment without judgment. That is all. This moment in the heart space where everything that is welcome. Peace is this moment without thinking that it should be some other way, that you should feel some other thing, that your life should unfold according to your plans. Peace is this moment without judgment, this moment in the heart space where everything that is welcome. Take a moment to breathe that in. Settle into this moment. Notice the state of your heart. Is it open or a little tight? Scan your body. Are there areas of aliveness or numbness, discomfort? Notice the gentle waves of your breath. And the state of your mind. Is it open and clear, racing and busy? See if you can feel peace in this moment, in the heart space, welcoming everything. Thank you. We think of this as slowing down to the speed of wisdom, where we have more access to our hearts and our ears are more open. So I'm going to share my screen and Eileen's going to review with you some agreements that we have found really help guide us in creating the kind of space we want today for Anna to feel that she can really share from her heart. So Eileen, unmute.
Hello, everybody, and welcome, everyone. And Anna, thank you. Honor the inherent dignity and equality of all. Welcome difference. Stay present. Engage and re-engage. Take risks. Lean into your discomfort and non-closure. Maintain confidentiality. Notice your bias, privilege, and what activates you. Respect and share time. Be mindful of collective and self-care. Own your intentions and your impact. Slow down to the speed of wisdom. Interrupt harm with compassion. and speak from your own experience and heart.
Thank you. So if we were to be in a days long or a whole program, we take a lot of time with these, but I hope you can, at least for today, agree to the best of your capacity to be guided by these guidelines. And the number 3, staying present and engaged. So if at any time you find you go into your own judgments or story, that's okay, but just notice it and come back. So that's what we mean by re-engaging. And I'm going to stop the share and hope I could see with just a thumbs up or a nod if you are willing, to the best of your capability today, to be guided by these agreements. Does that sound good? Wonderful. Thank you so much. So in just a few minutes, we're going to invite Anna to speak, and this will be a gift to her. So we'll just be listening. She's going to speak for 15, maybe even 20 minutes, and we'll be listening. We're going to listen not just from our head, but from our hearts, and not just to her story, but try to listen more deeply to her heart as well. And we say in anyone's story that there's kind of 3 levels. There's the facts. Now, by this we mean honest facts, not fact check, is this true? I heard it differently. We're listening for her story, so her facts. What are the key facts to her that make this important? And we'll be attuning and trying to understand beneath what she says, her feelings. We'll be paying attention to facial expression and voice tone and gesture. That's part of the message, right? And then at the deepest level, and we find this is kind of the really powerful place of compassionate listening, we're going to listen underneath all of this. What are the deepest values that are being demonstrated in what she's saying, that she really cares about? So sometimes we're not real clear what are values. So I want us to, before we start listening, take a minute, and in fact, don't click send yet, but I'm going to invite everyone to just think about your deepest value. I know we all have many, but what's 1 or 2 of those things that you value so deeply you would sacrifice for it? So important to you. And you might write it in the chat, and I'll say when everybody sends it. We call that a chatterfall, okay? So I can just model, for me, it's connection and community. Those are my deepest values. So think for you, write it in the chat so we'll get an idea of what possible values there are. So I hope you've got it written in there. A little complicated negotiations there in the Nikita room where there's 3 of you. But hopefully someone can record that for you. And I'll count 1, 2, 3, and then click send, okay? 1, 2, 3, send. Let's see what are some of the values that are going to come up. Send just a word or 2 of your value. I'm not seeing anything. Am I missing it? Where is the chat? Does anyone see the chat? Could you read it? Maybe Eileen, if you see the chat, I don't see anything.
Yeah, I'll just read what I see. Let's see, I'm going to go up to the top real quick.
Great.
Come here. Stop moving. Oi, it's moving.
Everybody's sending. Let's go. Okay,
Here
go
it
back.
goes. Interconnection with all, kindness and honesty, life, honesty and integrity, justice, compassion, justice, unity, equity, care for the earth, love God, love neighbor, walk humbly with God. That's what I'm seeing so far.
Beautiful. So you can see it's not that any of us, it's doubtful that we wouldn't treasure many of those values, but there's the ones that are dearest to us. Or when we get triggered or upset, it's often because one of our deep values is missing and not fulfilled, and that's really what the story's about. So when we try to listen for the deepest value, that's a place of connection because they're always positive. So even when we don't like somebody's strategy or words or the way they're doing it, but when we hear, oh, you really treasure family, and that's why this is so important to you, we may make different decisions, but we can meet there at love and care of family and other values. So that's why we'll want to be listening for those deepest values. So I want you to pay attention as we listen. Part of it is listening and being connected from your heart to Anna's. Part of it's at the same time being aware of yourself. What's going on inside of you? Are you open? Are you receiving? Are you going into judgment or blaming or arguing in your mind? Are you able to listen for the facts, for the feelings, and for her values? So you can see it's a big job to really be a great, compassionate listener. Do you think you're ready to give it a try? Did you want to add something, Eileen?
I would just add, don't burden yourself with trying to remember everything. Just take it in and see what, comes up for you as you listen.
Thank you.
It's
Yeah.
about trusting, just trusting the listening.
Being with. Yeah, thank you so much, Eileen. So, Anna, with your permission, we will pin you, but it won't hurt. So you'll be on the screen. And I'll invite you to just take a moment before you begin to take a breath, and we say anchor in your heart. We are here for you and really care for you and want to hear what's in your heart as a young woman from Ukraine.
So, good evening, everyone. And first of all, I just would like to thank you all for being here today. And thank you for WWFoR for giving me this opportunity today to speak to you and tell you my story. And as you probably already heard, I was born in Lviv, which is very western part of Ukraine. It has border, this city has border with Poland, so it's very western part. And I was born there, I lived there for 17 years, and I have very good memories from that time and very good connections with people from that city, and in general, very good memories of that place. But the way of how I ended up being in Boston was actually a long story. So it was 2014, and unfortunately I was 13 at the time, and my father passed away, which was very difficult situation for my mom, for my family, for me. Not only mentally, also financially, it also was a hard time. And just a couple months later, the revolution in Ukraine happened, which also affected probably every Ukrainian at that point. And it was a hard time. And just again, a couple months later, we got in contact with my grandfather who lived here in the US, but we never communicated as much. So he offered us to move to Boston, get some support. And also for me, it's going to be a good opportunity to get some education, which was great. But we applied, actually, we agreed to that opportunity. But only 4 years later, when I was 17, we got approved. So we could move to Boston at that time. And it was also a difficult time because, of course, as for like any immigrant, everything changed. Like culture is different, language is different, every single thing is different. And because my mom, she couldn't speak English at all. For me, I had some basic knowledge from high school, so I could speak a little bit. That's why everything fell, like I had to take care of me and my mom basically at that time. I had to learn how to take care of all the documentation and stuff, help her and with finding a job, applying, also take care of my education. So actually back in Ukraine, when I was 16, I graduated high school. But because I came with no knowledge of the system, how college works, anything at all, as well as English wasn't very good for me at that time, I decided to go to high school again. And it wasn't, I didn't felt that good about that because I already graduated high school. So going again was a little like downgrade for me. So I felt bad about that, but it ended up being a good decision because I had time to improve my knowledge and get some assistance and learn how everything works. So at the end, I actually went to community college. And it was also the time of COVID, everything was online, everything changed again and again. But I started to settle up a little bit. So I went to college, I found a job, and I started to, again, going up. And my mom also got settled up with job and things. So life started to come back for us, but unexpectedly this war happened. And it was a very difficult time as well, because the scariest day was the first day when you heard those news, and the first thing you wanted to do is to call your family, call your friends, and some of them are not answering because of like connection issues or something. But you're sitting and like thinking, what is going on there? Are they okay? And of course, for the first couple weeks, the only thing I could do is just scroll news and try to get in contact with all my friends, and this scrolling news, watching all those like videos and pictures of people and what terrible things are going on. And it was very mentally draining for me. But at the same time, I found myself feeling guilty for not being there with people, with my friends, with my family. I just was here in safety, and they are there fighting for survival, basically, at some points. And it was devastating feeling of guilt. And it was hard for me, for my family. I wasn't the only one feeling that. My mom also was like that. She wanted to come back to Ukraine. First couple of weeks, we were talking about that, actually. And my grandfather, he actually went to Ukraine for a couple months to be there when the things were bad, to see if he can help or anything. And then he came back a couple months later. And with all this feeling, I wanted to find a way to help. So I started going to all the events, Ukrainian events and things like that, Ukrainian rallies, and all possible I can find here in Boston. And during those events, I met so much people with different stories. Some of those people lost homes there. Some of the people lost close ones there. It was hard to hear all of that because you just didn't know how can you help those people? How can you help? Yeah. So it was a difficult time, but also I met so much incredible people who went through all of that and find energy to create different nonprofit organization to help sending humanitarian aid, who were working on different projects, organizing things. And it got me motivated, and I could finally feel like I could finally feel no more guilt for being here, because I realized that I just have to use this opportunity of being safe to share the story of Ukrainian people to others, to tell what's going on, to find more people, find more support, find more help here, because those people out there, they just have no opportunity to do that. So someone has to go and speak for them. So that's what I find myself trying to do, and with help of my professor as well at UMass Boston, I was able to present at a couple little school speeches to Ukrainian students, and it was very hard for me because as a biology student, I didn't really had much speaking experience, presenting and stuff. It just was fully reading, doing tasks, and I felt really anxious first couple times, but this motivation always kept me moving further and present and take opportunity. And I'm glad that I'm also here today, and I will also continue in the future to try my best and share more awareness and share more things. And with that said, I also would love to answer the question which FOR asked me at the beginning, which is how FOR can help non-violently to Ukrainian people. And I was thinking a lot about that, and I had a couple options, a couple of things I have to say, which is, first one is to get accurate information, which is very important. And often there is some information which can rapidly change, or some information which may be not as commonly getting attention. And for that, I think people should just have resources to get this information. And some of those resources can be like Ukrainian periodicals and news sellers, which I, at the end, will share with people if anyone would like that. And another thing is books and films, which can tell also a lot about how Ukrainian people felt, what are the values, and just in general information about the Ukraine and all the surrounding countries as well. And with this thing, it's also brings to the next point, which is, again, sharing that information, bringing awareness. And I think it's also very important. And one of the ways can be like, for example, attending peaceful rally or something like that, where you can see more people, but you can also spread awareness. And for example, the last one I have been on was to help bring Ukrainian kids who were kidnapped back to their homes. And the point of this rally was that we want international different human rights organizations and all humanists to hear and help us with that. So that was one of the way helping, by spreading this awareness. And of course, another very important part is donation for humanitarian aid, helping those people who lost their homes, who have nowhere to go, and especially people who lost loved ones, who just devastated, and then they just clearly need the help. So that's one of the possible many ways. And also next thing would be that a lot of buildings, a lot of infrastructure was destroyed, and people would need to come back to homes after everything is ready. So it's important to start thinking about renovation of those things as well. And all of those things are great and can help Ukraine, but there's even some things like something we do every day. Like for me, it was another good way to help was to go to local shops and places which actually support Ukraine and Ukrainian peoples, or even owned by Ukrainian people who came here. And actually, it's also a good way to help. And lastly, there are ways to just visit some events, get to meet those people, see what they may need help with. And often Ukrainian churches may offer more information on such events, or even some entertainment events, which is also good to meet people and also see more information about what's going on in Ukraine and what are the ways to help right now, those people who are here right now. And it's, yeah, there's a lot of different ways, and a lot of them I probably even haven't mentioned here, but I just wanted to have all those things for people who want to help, and I'm just giving different things. And yeah, those are just some couple examples, and there's definitely a lot more, but I think those will be a good amount for now. And I'm just once again wanted to say that I'm really grateful, appreciate for all you being here today, and for giving me this opportunity to talk to you today and being heard. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Anna. I'm wondering today, as you think of Ukraine, what is in your heart?
Today, yes. So today I still feel pain about what's happening there, about what's happening with people there, with my family and friends, and how much people every day have to go through, because for them, they just learned how to live with bombing going on, with all those terrible things, and it's not right. And I cannot imagine how devastating it is to live in such danger, being afraid for, you don't know what may happen with you in a couple of minutes. And it's so scary, and I just feel so much pain for those people. And that's what motivates me to talk and spread awareness.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Anna. I heard you say that you never thought of yourself as much of an activist or a speaker, but you felt so called, and you wanted to turn the gift of your safety into something that could help. And your deep caring for family and friends in Ukraine and your country has brought you on this path, and you've developed your skills and your passion in speaking for Ukraine, putting yourself out there with a lot of grace and courage. I'm very touched by everything you've said.
Thank you. It means a lot for me. Thanks.
Yeah, and I really heard how hard it was in the beginning when your mom and you came and everything was so new and confusing. And because of your language skills, you got thrust into the role of dealing with everything as such a young girl. And it must have taken a lot of courage and strength, inner strength.
Yeah, it was a hard time, but it did help me a lot in the future. And even today, I can see how that made me a little stronger in some sense. So now I'm trying to use that when it's so needed for those people.
Beautiful. Would you like to add some reflections, Eileen?
I was really touched deeply by how you faced the loss of your father, the loss of your home, moving to a new country, educating yourself, and then standing up for the human rights of others. You know, that takes such determination, dedication, and courage, and many more things. And I'm really taken by that.
Thank you a lot for this words.
Is there anything more you'd like to share with us, Anna?
So the last thing I will just probably say is that I will also, so all the resources I talked about today, I will share those in the chat with you. So if you want, you can always come back and see all of those. And yeah, I'm just really grateful for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Anna. Anything you want to share left over from what happened for you at that spring conference?
The screen conference, you referred to the
FOR meeting?
Oh, right. Yes. Yes, I remember that moment. So actually my professor told me about that meeting and said, would you like to say anything? And at that point I felt so much things I want to say. And I knew that it's going to be just like 1 minute of the time. So I felt very overwhelmed with my thoughts, which was things I want to put into that message. And yeah, I felt also a little, I would say, frustrated by the fact that I was the only Ukrainian there, and I felt like I didn't know how people will react to my message. But I really wanted to say something. So I just decided to join and have this 1 minute. Yeah.
Do you feel now you've been able to say everything you wanted to say? Is there anything more?
Yes, I mean, if we're talking about answering the question which we talked about today, I feel like I said all I want today. But also I probably would like to say that anyone can help as long as they willing and have this as long as they want to. Everyone can help in different ways, so many ways. So that's probably all of the message I wanted to send today.
Great, thank you so much, Anna. I hear how you have found the way for you to help. And you're inviting all of us that if we feel moved or touched by the situation, we can also find a way to be of help.
Thank you.
Anything more you want to add, Eileen?
I would just add that I really appreciated the many ways that you've offered to help, that others can help. all nonviolent ways. And I thought that was really helpful and creative.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna, for your heart, your passion, your devotion, and your clear thinking and commitment. I really am touched.
Thank you.
And we will unpin you now and go back to seeing everyone. So just take a breath. And what we're going to do now is give each of you a chance to be heard and do some listening in pairs. In the Nikita trio room, you'll have to do a little math. As I explain it, each person will have 3 minutes. So I would say for you guys, each of you take 2 minutes. So that'll still be equal to the 6 minutes, okay? And it's really helpful if you have a timer to help you. I will send in the chat, but sometimes you don't notice the little message that comes across that says 3 minutes, time to switch. So if somebody, but the timer will be counting down once you do get sent off. So when you see it's to 3 minutes, then you'll know it's time for the second person. But I haven't given instructions yet. So patience, and Jonathan, don't send them until I say send, okay? So this is going to be a really important experience of having an opportunity to speak without interruption, to listen deeply. So I'm going to first give you the instruction when you are the listener to really listen, as we were trying to do right now, to Anna from your heart, and feel grateful, the privilege that this partner is going to be willing to speak from their heart. And we'll try to get out of our heads. We're so often, talking about ideas and thoughts, but also into our hearts and our feeling and our body as part of it as well, and really share from there. And so when we listen, and we want to feel that person's heart and what they're really sharing. So I'll listen deeply and fully, and I will say nothing. No questions, no comments, and not even non-verbally. So I'm not going to go, okay? That doesn't mean you have to sit there like a stone. You're receiving what they're saying, okay? So just being a caring witness and receiver. That's your job when you're the listener. Okay, what are you going to do as the speaker? Well, I'll tell you what you're going to speak about in just a minute, but I want you to know you do not have to take care of your listener. They are there for you. They want to hear you. You can pause, you can stumble. You don't have to be interesting. You don't have to be entertaining. You don't even have to make sense. It's 3 minutes for you to speak as you want to. All right? And I'll ask you when you get into the room not to take a lot of time to decide who's going to speak first. If you have trouble and somebody doesn't say, I want to go first, or I want you to go first, then the person with the shortest hair can be the first speaker. Okay? What you will speak about is just personally for you. We're gonna have 2 rounds. This first round, you'll be with a partner and you'll talk about what challenged you. Could you write that in the chart, Eileen? What challenged you as you were listening to Anna? There might have been big surprises or places you got triggered or sent off. What was challenging for you? Okay? And I really encourage you. I know once I send you off, you're going to do whatever you want. but I really invite you to try to do it this way as an experience and a practice. You'll have 3 minutes. I will send a little message when it's time to switch. But when it is time to switch, it's not just, okay, you go. No, like pause, take a breath, back to that centered place we worked on before we began, so that you're ready to let go of your thoughts if you were the speaker, to be present as the listener. And so you can gather your thoughts as the speaker if you've been the listener. Any questions that you have before I send you off? So Lisa and Mac, I think there's 2 of you in that room. Is that true? Johnson, are you there?
Yes, we're there. And yes, there are 2 of us.
Okay, so you'll just be with yourselves speaking, and our threesome, did we just lose them? Maybe they were afraid of doing that math. And I think, Jonathan, do you have us ready in pairs? And Jean will go in or out depending on if you have, do you have an even number? And Anna and I will stay out here. Eileen, do you want to stay out here with Anna, or would you like to be with a person?
Wherever I'm needed.
If you want to leave, you can do whatever you like.
Okay, I'll stay out here.
Pardon? You're
I
gonna
can stay out here if I'm not needed.
You are loved and wanted, but not, it's okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Love you, dear.
No, I'm staying,
Oh, you're
Susan.
staying. Oh,
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Okay,
I'm staying.
And are you?
I just didn't know if you needed me in a room.
No. Oh, do we need her in a room, Jonathan? Or the numbers?
Actually, Anna also got assigned to a room, so it's Anna and Eileen together.
No, put
Perfect.
Anna back in the main room.
Okay.
And me too, then.
And Eileen too. Okay.
Yeah,
But you're in
gotcha.
a room, Jonathan, and Gina's in a room? Great. Okay, so if you do get sent into the room, Eileen and Anna, just come back to the main room, okay? All right. Wonderful. Okay, remember, anchor in your heart, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak what challenged you as a listener.
Aha.
So you do need to accept Mary, Lisa, and Mark. Were you sent to a room, I hope?
We were sent and but we declined.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank
so
you.
can
Thank
you,
you.
we'll send you to a different room, but because we would like you to go into a breakout room, okay? I will send you, where are you guys? Lisa and Mark. You should be in your own room. Where are you? I don't know why I don't see you. And also Mary Margaret, your partner's waiting for you. Oh no, she is in it. I think we just need to, this is very strange. I don't see Lisa and Mac.
Yeah. Hi, Susan. This is Mac Johnson. I'm actually my brother Tom is the professor who introduced Anna to all this. But
Great.
we are not physically or mentally able to take part in the compassionate listening. We prefer to be observers. That's why.
Okay, you'll still need to go into a breakout room and just relax while you're out there, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Also my back is killing me.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Just watching is hard enough. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you very
glad
much.
you're with us.
I'm getting all the resources.
I meant to send them to the room.
Okay, gotcha.
Me instead. Where are they? Here they are. Move to room 8. Okay. So please accept the invitation, Lisa and Mac. And Mary Margaret is not really here because she had her computer and her phone.
Okay.
Hey, so
Hello, we did it.
how was that for you, Anna?
It wasn't easy, I would say, because I had all my thoughts kind of mixed together.
Oh,
But it was great to see like supportive people, meaning that they listened to me carefully without any interruption. So yeah.
Yeah. It's so much more pleasant when we're all together in the same room.
Yeah.
Now I just realized Jonathan didn't set the clock, so I don't know the timing.
uh-oh. I'd say just really, well, they've probably been in there at least a minute.
Yeah, I'll give them another minute and tell them to switch.
I thought you were very clear in your messages and also so appreciated everything you shared. Thank you.
Thank you too. Yes, it was important for me to make the message clear. I'm glad that.
It was.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Hi, Bob. What's going on? Why are you back?
Nobody showed up.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh. You can put
Oh,
me and Bob
no.
in a room if you want.
Okay, that sounds great.
Bye.
All right, I will, let's see, I'm going to put you in room 2. Yeah, okay, so we'll have to move you. Unassign. I hope you can go back. Do you see a little sign at the bottom, Bob, that says return to the room? I can't hear you because I can't.
Right now, I don't have access to my little icon for mute, and all I see is Anna, you, and Irene, and Mary Margaret.
Okay, and unfortunately, he didn't create an extra room.
Okay.
So, oh no, unassign. Yeah, so I can't send you back to room 2. I don't know why. If you click on your 3 little dots, does it let you, the 3 little dots in the upper room, does it give you a chance to go back? Or you know what? I'm going to try putting you in the waiting room and bringing you right back. Oh, the technical stuff.
You're good at it.
Oh, we'll see if this works. So is he back?
Uh-oh.
Okay.
I don't know, but I'm not seeing anything that tells me to go in a room.
Yeah, well,
Okay, I'm back.
Hi, Bob. Welcome back.
The problem is I have no place. It won't let me move you to room 2 is the problem.
Okay.
And
I wonder who.
Do we want to go ahead, Bob? I'm sorry.
Played hooky.
yeah,
well,
I don't know. But anyway, would you like to talk about for just a minute or so what was challenging for you and we can listen?
Well, I think what was challenging for me, and I don't mean to speak for Anna, but I felt a depth of despair for her and all she's had to go through, of the Ukrainian people, and I just can't imagine. First of all, I can't imagine how you did it, Anna. Everything you've had to go through, and I don't know how the people there live day to day. It just must be horrendous. There isn't really the horrendous doesn't even really do it justice as a word. It just we hear news releases on what happened as the Russian soldiers advanced into the Ukraine, and it's. Well, I'm going to use this word. I don't use it glibly, but it sounded like a nightmare. And if there's some way that I can be of assistance, I certainly am going to follow up on that. So it seems there are so many people in need these days. It's hard to know where to turn, but this is really kind of floating to the surface as something that needs to be addressed here and now. And, hope I can do something for you and your country, Anna.
Thank you for this words. It's really does means a lot for me. Thank you for the support. Thank you.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
Well, and I realized I got all sidetracked with timing. So I don't know if people were timing themselves or not. Hopefully they were. And I'm gonna just get ready to close the room because I think it's been 6 minutes. Does that seem right?
I can't tell.
Can't
But-
tell, yeah.
It must be close to it. I didn't notice when we went in.
So I think I'll close the rooms and they'll come back. It really threw me off because the timer was supposed to be on, so, okay.
I just want to make a comment, even though I was silent listening, but your empathy brought me to tears, Bob.
Mm,
Thank you.
But you're welcome. It was Anna's story that
Right.
was the impetus for it all.
I know.
You're a very brave person.
mm,
It's amazing what people can do when they need to. You're a perfect example of that.
right. Yeah. Well, this is a good reminder to me to set up my own breakout rooms because then I know what's
It'll be okay.
It will totally be okay. They're going to be back in 8, 7, 6.
I'm going to do whatever I can too, Anna. I'm going to commit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody. We had a few little technical glitches. Jonathan, when you set up the rooms now, please make sure there's 2 empty rooms because what happens is if somebody gets pushed out, then I can't send them back to that room. So please make a couple of empty rooms and that will help me. And then I didn't realize that there wasn't going to be a timer. So I don't know how the timing worked out, but I hope you all had a really good experience. Huh? How did it go? Okay. Did it go okay? Did you each take a turn?
Yes. Thumbs up.
All right, excellent.
Yay.
So now you're going to get to have a different partner. I think we're doing fine on our time. And this time share, the prompt will be a little different. And can you put this in the chat for us, Eileen? What touched or inspired you? It could be similar to what challenged you, but in the listening, what touched or inspired you? And this could be of your own experience as a listener, as well as in the listening to Anna. Okay, so it may be, the challenge may be have been personal or what Anna said. And again here, how was it for you as a listener? What touched or inspired you? And again, you'll each take 3 minutes. And again, I'll ask Lisa and Mac to please accept moving into the room. And then we'll bring you back. And any questions before we send you off again with a new partner? Just to mix it up. And Jonathan, are you ready? Okay. Have a great time of listening and of speaking. And notice what the experience is like for you. Okay.
Oh.
Why is Brenda alone?
Because I tried to create blank rooms and she got into one of them. So
Oh, okay,
let me-
that's, yeah, you just
let-
needed an extra room, but we want to move her with Jean. We can move her.
Yep.
her-
okay, she's there now.
Okay, good. So Lisa and Matt are alone. Who are you with?
Nobody at the moment. I'm waiting to see how things are lining up here. Okay. All right, so Anna's not. Okay, so
I didn't find anybody in room 1.
Okay, so why don't you join room 1, Jonathan? Where's Louise?
Well, I was supposed to be in room 1 and
Oh,
nobody
okay.
came.
And Mary wasn't there?
Oh, well, maybe she was just late. So if you want to try putting me in room, I don't know whether Mary was in room 1 or not.
This is
You want me
because now we
back
can't.
in room 1 and I'll see if Mary's there.
Can you move yourself back?
I don't know how to do that.
Is there a little red box at the bottom?
A red box at the bottom. Just
Yeah.
for leave.
Okay, no, don't click that. So I'm gonna have to move both of you into room 11. So Jonathan just went to room 1. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's see, because now. Okay, let's move you. Where are you gonna be? We'll move you to room 8. I hope I'll get somebody there with you in a minute. Okay, I think it's okay now.
Worked out.
Oh, but again, I forgot to check the time. Jonathan, you don't have the clock going, so I don't.
oh,
Now Louise came back and it's where,
Yeah, I'm still not getting anybody.
well, he was coming.
Oh, Mary Margaret was
Now
coming.
let's see where, wait, Jonathan,
okay,
just a minute. Jonathan's going to be your partner.
okay.
Don't have any idea now what time anything is. I'm gonna move you to room 8, and Jonathan, can you please join room 8?
Writing room.
Louise, didn't I just move you to room 8?
I don't know. You didn't move me.
Oh, no. Well, let's see if I can move you to room 7. Okay, I'm gonna move you to room 7 and accept. Okay, and it'll take Jonathan a minute. Okay.
Finally, so worked out, hopefully.
You don't know when you're in Zoom things, all the stuff that's going on in the background.
Yes, but it
All right.
worked out.
I'm gonna
Yes.
send a message to everybody that it's about, I don't know, has it been 3 minutes? Golly gee.
I mean, the message Eileen sent into the chat was at 37 and now it's 42, so
Okay, time
somewhere,
to switch.
yeah.
Pause and recenter. Okay, thank you. I didn't realize you could tell that. You're brilliant. Okay, so now I will set the timer for a change. What I usually do when it's not all discombobulated immediately.
Right.
But it's such a frustrating thing. If somebody leaves the room, you can't send them back to it. So that's why I've learned you need a couple of extra rooms, because then you can use those when you have to move people around, if that makes any sense to you at all.
Yeah, it does. I don't know why it works this way. Shouldn't be kind of easier.
Yeah, it's a definite glitch.
Mhm.
That if I ever had time and energy, I would give feedback to Zoom, but so far.
Yeah, would be great to fix
Yeah.
that.
So you're now at what, Boston College?
Yes, Boston. Yes, UMass Boston, University of Massachusetts in Boston. I started at a community college, but after 2 years, I transferred to a 4-year college.
Awesome.
So yes, next year will be, actually this fall semester, I will start my senior year and will hopefully graduate soon.
That's
And
wonderful, Anastasia.
thank you.
What an accomplishment.
Thank you. Yes.
And your English is magnificent.
Thank you a lot. Yes, it took a while. It took a lot of time. I think probably only just last year when I felt confident enough to speak to people more, which
Yeah.
I'm proud of.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
should be. That's huge.
Right.
Especially thinking on your feet and all the idioms that people use and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
How
that's
is your
right.
mom doing?
She's working now. She actually she's trying to learn English, but it's so much harder for her. And she is, for her, it's also actually hard because when we left Ukraine, she had a fiance back there. And they are still together, but they haven't seen together for years.
Oh,
And yeah, so she really want to come back Ukraine, and maybe because she didn't want to leave me here by myself, so she stayed here. But maybe next year she will see how it will happen.
what hard choices. What hard
Yeah,
choices to make.
the choices are definitely, yeah. But
I feel so fortunate that I haven't been faced with that.
yes, and there is so much more stories which just breaks my heart to hear them, and it's really hard. And I probably sometimes I feel like I cannot feel anymore anything because I heard so much from people that it's just too much. So yeah.
Mm. Thank you, Anna. Welcome back. So glad you're all here. Sorry for all the little glitches that we had, but I hope you
I think I ended my breakout with Reagan by mistake. We had a few seconds left to talk.
Yeah.
I did too.
It's
Th-
okay.
Thank you for introducing me to two very worthwhile people. Really appreciate it.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Glad. Hope you had a good experience with that.
Yeah. Well, I am Anna's professor. I'm Tom Johnson, and
Oh, wonderful.
so of course I tend to agree with her. We have developed a knack for making common cause together.
Beautiful. A lucky
And
partner to have.
Anna is part of Ukraine's important part of Ukraine's very bright future.
That's so wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, and welcome back, everybody. Few little glitches, but I'm so glad you're back. And I want to just ask what feedback you have from that experience of being a listener and of being heard. What stood out for you? Anything you want to share with the group about that experience?
The only thing I would say or comment on is that I felt that the emotions were shared between us that we picked up.
Mm.
And that we picked up in listening to Anna's presentation, that there was a coherence of emotions between the two of us.
Beautiful. You felt a real attunement.
It wasn't just information, you know.
Thank you for sharing that, Bob.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I was happy with the listening when we were listening to Anna, and it seemed right. But when we got into the breakout rooms, and I was in both cases with people I knew very well, it was very hard to just listen.
You found you wanted to interrupt, you mean, or what made it hard?
Yeah, well, yes, and not so much, but when there was a pause in what they were saying, I wanted to come in with my stuff, and I wanted to comment on what they said. And it's partly because I knew the people well, and I'm used to having conversations with them, not listening, and in the same sense.
Yeah, so it's kind of an artificial way, because it wasn't just a conversation. How many people felt that way? Probably a lot of you. Yeah, it's not the way we usually do things. But take a moment to think, when it was your turn to speak, what happened for you to have 3 minutes of not being interrupted? What did anyone notice? Jean?
I noticed.
Oh, yeah.
Me, Jean, or Jean Buskin? No, I noticed that I'm very trained to think about the person who's listening to me, and maybe to a fault, but to be talking to that person in terms of thinking about what they're going to think.
Yeah.
But it was nice for us. I agree with Brenda that I knew the people well, but it was good to have us not interrupt each other to agree or disagree. It was good to slow things down and have that space.
Was anyone surprised by what came up for them in their speaking? I see Jonathan nodding his head. No? You weren't surprised. Okay, sorry. I don't mean to put you on the spot.
I was not surprised for much the same reasons that Brenda outlined. On the other hand, I was really interested to hear what the other person said, because while we do know each other, we don't always converse this deep on these issues. That was valuable in itself.
Beautiful.
I also found it inspiring that a person this young, having gone through this experience, is willing to get up there and speak in public. That was my inspiring experience.
Really, in front of all of us older folks. Really beautiful. Thank you. So it's a little exercise to practice different kind of listening and speaking space. And it can really, as you mentioned, bring you much deeper and into closer connection, even with people you know. Sometimes we don't really get to know what's in their hearts. So you might even try it sometime. You've got the tool to say, why don't we each take 3 minutes or 5 minutes and just listen to each other? So I know we're going to soon be towards our closing time. Is there anything else from this experience before we go into our closing circle? And I know that Jean wants to leave some time for announcements at the end. So again, not for discussion or more about issues, but about this experience. I see
Susan?
Tan and Tom.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Me?
So
Me?
Tom and then Eileen.
Okay. thank you all to the organizers for this and for giving me a chance to meet two different very interesting people in breakout, and I hope we'll stay in touch. Reagan gave me his email and I already sent that, but I'm Anna's former professor. My brother and sister-in-law are Lisa and Mac Johnson. So I'm really the only one who knew her beforehand. This is actually the fourth time I've found a forum for her to speak in. So she's young, but she's gaining experience with every day. She's part of a group of young, amazing activists. So if you like the Parkland, Florida students, you would love these people. And it's an honor to be inspired by them. They're part of Ukraine's very bright future.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Tom, for being a wonderful mentor to her. Thank
Susan,
you.
I'm wondering, I don't know what the closing is, but I'm wondering if it might be worthwhile to share an appreciation for Anna, only if people want to.
Yeah, before we move into that, yeah, we've certainly heard several. Would anyone else like to add an appreciation for Anna before we go into our closing circle? I see Mary. Yes, please.
I was very touched, Anastasia, with the admission that you confessed that you ended up being your mother's support and guide with your facility in English before hers was developed. And so you were the one who dealt with forms. Oh, so many forms. And I was deeply touched that it was you who got the idea of getting back into a U.S. high school so that you would get more expertise with English language. That was so incredibly mature of you. And the fact that you have no discernible accent after less than 10 years in the United States, woo, you are a linguist.
Thank you, Mary. Who else would like to offer an appreciation?
I want to say I am inspired, and it reminds me how lucky I was when I immigrated and how much easier it was, and how after 60 years, well, almost 60 years, I still have an accent, and Anna's accent is very wonderful, is very little.
Thank you, Brenda. We have time for maybe one or two more appreciations before we move to our closing circle.
Oh, go ahead, Reagan.
Oh,
yes, please.
Yeah, so I was a high school social studies teacher for 30 years. And over the years, I recruited all of the exchange students that came to my school to be in my classes. And that included students from Ukraine, from Russia, from Poland, from other European countries. And Anna, I raise my hands to you to respect and honor you and the youth of the future to whom we are forwarding the care of this planet we inhabit. And thank you. And I could have more, but I will stop there.
Thank you, Reagan.
I also wanted to say that I'm very I really admire the way you took yourself. I immigrated when I was 10, which is a long time ago, and I realized it's really hard. And no, I didn't. I wasn't I'm still getting used to it sometimes, but anyway, I admire you, and I'm glad that at the things you're doing for you and your country and here. And I wish you the best in doing that.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's move into our closing circle. And then after the closing circle, those of you who are in FOR, hang out with Jean and Jonathan. They have some announcements. So in just a word or phrase, take a moment to reflect how this whole listening session has been for you. What you may have learned about yourself as a listener and the skill of listening. Certainly the appreciation and inspiration we've heard from what Anna shared. What are you leaving our time this afternoon together? What are you leaving with in just a word or a phrase? So I'll call on you in the order I see you. All right. So I see Brenda and then Tom. And don't forget to unmute so we can hear you.
Okay, it's not a natural thing for me to listen.
Thank you. Tom and then Reagan. Please unmute.
What am I called on to do? Sorry.
Just in a word or a phrase, what are you leaving with?
My impression,
Your experience of today.
integrity.
Thank you. Reagan and then Jean Gant.
I'm leaving this re-inspired to try to pull together a set of conversation questions that pose very different conflicting viewpoints on such things as U.S. military aid, support for armistice, and so on. And
Okay. Inspired to do more. Jean and then the other Jean.
I'm eager to learn more about listening.
Wonderful. Jean and then Mary Margaret.
It's still a challenge for me to speak for 3 minutes without responses, and it's a challenge for me to listen for 3 minutes without responding.
Okay. Thanks for trying it. Mary Margaret and then Louise.
The conflict between giving Ukrainian independence and stopping the violence is still unresolved.
Thank you, Mary Margaret. Louise and then Jonathan.
Learning to accept different opinions.
Jonathan and then Vivi.
Good practice in listening.
Vivi and then Mary. Mary Hansen. So Vivi.
Yeah, it's challenging to listen and to speak. It's challenging to speak sometimes. Finding the right words.
Thank you. Mary Hansen and then Bob.
I just really feel gratitude to Anastasiia for being here and sharing. And I just hope it inspires all of us to do what we can to help the people of Ukraine to get through this and help each other to move through this too. It's been a really difficult time, and thank you, Anastasiia.
Bob, and then our other Mary.
I was surprised at how a loosely structured exercise can have such a good outcome.
Mm.
You know. And then beyond that, I offer a respectful silence to Anna and all she's endured, the Ukraine people, and my thanks to the organizers, especially Jean Gant de la Strada.
I see the connection there. Thank you, thank you.
I don't know why my name is there
Oh,
twice.
you're right. It's I don't either. So we know you already spoke. So now to Lisa and Mac in their room, if they're still there. We'd love to hear what you're leaving with.
Yep. Hi, I've been in and out, and Mac has been listening while he lies flat on his back to try to protect it. But I'll hand it over to him because I know he's gotten a lot out of listening to people.
Thank you.
We're twins, by the way.
All right, look at that.
It's a good thing we didn't get in the same chat room and say the shortest hair goes. We would have been there all night. Anyway,
Okay.
Multiple perspectives on policy and spirituality. I believe my brother and I don't agree on the Iraq War.
Okay.
But we agree that it's a vast tragedy. And Anna, it's my second time watching you, and you go, girl.
Great. Thanks so much, Mac. I hope your back feels better. Eileen and then Anna.
Gratitude. Thank you, Anna, and thank you, everyone.
Mhm. And Anna, what are you leaving with today?
I'm just leaving with appreciation for being able to speak up, for having an opportunity to speak up today. Because as we know, not all people have it. So appreciation is something I live with today.
Thank you. And I leave also with deep gratitude and appreciation to you, Anna, for your deep sharing, to my beloved friend Eileen for coming to help and support, to Jean for all the energy she put into this and your deep passion and care for peace and reconciliation, and Jonathan for his support on Zoom. So thank you all so much. Those of us who are not actively part of FOR will leave. And Jean, I hope we didn't end too late, but there's a little more energy for your announcements.